Okay, in this video we'll see the demonstration of 555 timer as monostable multi-operator. So let us start from this. So let us select 555 timer. Let us select monostable multi-operator. In this monostable multi-operator we got three different options depending on the values of the value of R we have here. So if we can see there are three different monostable multioperators which will actually have three different values of R. This RDCT will constitute a differentiator which will generate the spikes out of this square wave trigger signal. Of course, this diode is used to clip off the positive spike, not to go beyond VCC, which is a 5 volt. It should not go beyond uh, 0.7 volts from where it is clamped. Of course, CT and RT are the timing resistances. We have an option of changing the control voltage so that we can able to change the width of the pulse. So we have to apply a square wave using channel 1. Using channel 2 I can able to apply a DC voltage, and of course in the second channel I can see what is the pulse width that I am supposed to get from this monostable multimeter. So let me just before I conduct the experiment, let me select this wave gen, and this is my circuit. So using W1, so I need to apply a square wave of maybe at a low. Okay, let us keep the frequency as around 2 kilohertz. Let us take the amplitude as around 2 volt. Let the offset be around 2 volts. You can just see what happens if it is 2 volts. You can see this is 2 volts and this is up to 4 volts. So this is what you're going to get when you make the amplitude and offsets as 2 volts. Okay, this is square wave, it is fine. So over here let me select a DC voltage of around 2.18 volt. This is fine. Let me run now. So I have just applied the voltage and I have not yet selected this option, that's why I'm not getting anything now. Now I will conduct. When I start conducting the experiment, now you can see you are getting only the input signal, meaning that the trigger is not properly being applied. So what I should now do is, let me slightly increase the amplitude of the waveform so that I can able to get the trigger signal should certainly go below VTL. Or other option is I can able to if I can able to increase the control voltage, which will increase my VTL, so that I can able to get the waveform. So let me just try out this. Let me increase this voltage and try to see will I get the waveform. You can see I'm getting the waveform. Now you can see if I increase it, can you see I'm getting the blue waveform. So this is what is your output waveform. Now let me just expand this. Let us not make it 1 millisecond, let me make it 0.2, it is fine. Let me just separate them. Okay, let me remove all of them, and what I'll do is I'll slightly separate them by giving some offset voltage. Let me give an offset of around let me give negative offset so that I can able to get. Okay, this is my output waveform. Let me just make it -4 to do better. This is perfect now. Okay, let me make it -4 volts. Now you can see this is perfect. Now let us try to understand what's happening here. You can see this is a square wave. So whenever the input square wave goes from plus VCC to 0, now actually this is 0 volt. Let me just select it to this one. I can see this is 0 and the amplitude that we given is 4. Now it is going from 4 to 0. Whenever the input voltage goes below VTL, you can see the output is going high. So this is actually the pulse width. The pulse width of blue waveform, which is the actual output waveform. So from the point of where the input signal goes 0, goes from VCC to 0, from here till this point is the pulse width. So I can able to actually, of course if you can see from this, the pulse width happens to be 203 microsecond, which can also be verified using this. Let me just use this second channel. Let me measure the horizontal pulse width. So this is what I'm looking at. This is the only parameter that I'm looking at. You can see it's almost 0.20 so this is 0.203 millisecond, which happens to be uh, which you can see here also. It is 204 microsecond, which is here also almost same. Now I can change the pulse width. One way is by changing this. Okay, let me see here. I can change this value of R, or I can change the control voltage. If I change the control voltage also, I can able to change it. So what I'll do is you can just have a look at this, and let me, if I increase this control voltage, naturally this width will increase. So you can see if I increase this to 2.33, can you see from 200 microseconds it has become 272 microsecond. You can see the width has increased. Suppose if I further increase this, we can see still it is of course it is now increased to 300 millisecond. So you can carefully observe. If I reduce this, that also reduces. Can you see the pulse width has reduced? Now let me make it so on. So can you see the pulse width is hardly 186 microsecond. This is true because as I change this offset voltage, the capacitor voltage to which it will charge, which is 2.73 volt. So since this voltage has reduced, so the pulse width will also be get reduced. So what I'll do is, suppose if I further reduce it, what will happen? I may lose the waveform. Just have a look at this output waveform. Output waveform is not there. Why output waveform is not there is because the spike that is coming down here is not going below half of this, because half of this is VTL. As the spike is not going below half of this, so I could not get a proper waveform. What is the remedy for this is, I have to increase the amplitude of this from maybe from 2 to 3 volts. You can see if I increase this to 3 volt, I will certainly get it. I'm not getting it still now for, okay, now let me see. You can see I made it 3 volt. I'm now getting it. See here, this can now go up to -1 volt. The spike is now certainly crossing half of this. Spike is, because spike may not go up to -1, spike may be coming here and then going up here. So since the spike is now certainly reaching less than half of this, so I could able to get the waveform. Now you can see again, now if you increase this, suppose if you further reduce this, it may so happen that you may not get the output again. You can see you're not getting the output again. Why the output is not coming? It's again the spike is not going below 1/3 VC, sorry, not 1/3, half of this. So what I can do is I can reduce this offset. You can see reducing the offset will also help me to just go this waveform down. Now it has gone up to -2, which is sufficient for your output waveform to, or the trigger signal to go below half of this reference voltage, which will be half of this will be VTL. So I could able to get the waveform. So what I'll do is I will make this 2 volt, or maybe let me make this 2. Okay, let me make this 2.5. Let me make this also 2.5, and let me make this somewhere around, this is 2.9 volt. Let me see the impact of change in the values of R1, R2. So sorry, this timing resistor. Now this is actually R is equal to some value which is now maybe 1 kilo ohm. So if I change this to a different value, I can have 10k. If I have 10k, just carefully observe the width what you have. You have almost 0.24. It's not coming. So why it's not coming is maybe my control voltage is less. What I'll do is let me increase the control voltage to some greater value. Now this is fine. You can see now this is control voltage. This is perfect. So what I'll do is let me slightly reduce the frequency to 1 kilohertz. This is perfect now. Now you can see once the pulse width start from this to this, it's almost 300 microsecond. So what I'll do is I will change the value of resistance. From mono 1 I'll go to mono 2. I will conduct the experiment. It's perfect now. Now you can see the width is too much, so what I'll do, let me increase this timing to somewhere here. This is now fine. I will stop it. Now we can see I can also demonstrate that non-retriggerable condition of this 555 timer. Now we can see if I just slightly expand this waveform, what I'll do is I will expand this waveform by making this 0.5 millisecond. See now here, this is a valid trigger signal. From here the pulse width starts. Pulse width is going up to this point. So this is the pulse width, which is almost 1.3 millisecond. You can see this is one trigger signal. You are having one more trigger signal here. Even though you have a one more trigger signal, since it has not yet completed its pulse width, it is not again starting from here. Now the pulse width is from here to this point, which is 1.3 millisecond. So whatever trigger signal that comes before the end of the pulse width, it will not be valid. So that's why this type of 555 timer is called as non-retriggerable, meaning once it triggers, the output voltage goes to quasi-stable state. It remains there till your whatever the value of pulse width has elapsed. Only it elapses and it will come down. It will again go to next quasi-stable state after getting one more trigger signal. Now this is a valid trigger signal. Now you can see this width of 1.3 millisecond will be the same even if I increase the frequency. So what I'll do, I will increase the frequency of my, okay, I will increase the frequency of the signal. What happened? Okay, let me just select mine. Okay, let me run this. Let me run this also. So I'll go back to this and slightly increase the frequency to 2 kilohertz. Even if I increase the frequency to 2 kilohertz, can you see it is the same 1.3 millisecond? Can you see it's almost 1 point? See here, from here it starts. You have second trigger signal, third trigger signal. It is not considered the first trigger signal till the end of the pulse width, almost 1.24 millisecond. Again here, this is a valid trigger signal. You have one more trigger signal, that is not considered. You have one more trigger signal, that is not considered. The trigger signal is once it goes to stable state. It has entered stable state. After entering stable state, if you get a trigger signal, then it is valid. When it is there in the quasi-stable state, whenever the 555 timer is there in the quasi-stable state, if you give a trigger signal, it's not valid. Now you can see it is still in the quasi-stable state. You are a trigger signal, it's not valid. You have one more trigger signal, it's not valid. It has elapsed its quasi state. It has entered the stable state. Once it enters stable state, you get your next trigger signal. It just goes to quasi stable state, meaning this is the property of a 555 timer, which we call it as non-retriggerability. So it is not triggering whenever it is there in the quasi-stable state. It will trigger only when it comes to stable state. That is, when it is at 0, if you give a negative voltage, it goes to quasi-stable state. So of course, for different values of R and the external voltage, you can able to get different pulse width. Of course, the third one, third option in your remote lab corresponds to I think it's 1K in parallel with the 10K, which will be the least dimension. Okay, let me just run this. If I run it here, you can see the on time is so less. The pulse width is so less. Let me just stop this. You can see, let me reduce the frequency of the square wave so that we can able to clearly understand. Okay, let me just make it maybe lesser frequency. You run it. Now this is perfect. Can you see here, whenever it goes to 0, the output enters quasi-stable state. You can see it is stable for some time. It is stable here for 244 microsecond and it comes to stable state. So if you get next trigger signal, it's going to quasi-stable state. So this way we can able to demonstrate the working of 555 timer as monostable multivibrator, where pulse width can be varied in actually three different ways by changing the timing resistor, timing capacitor and the control voltage. But here in this case, since we don't have the option of changing the value of timing capacitor, we are changing the timing resistor and the control voltage. And one more important thing that we need to notice here is that this is a non-retriggerable monoshot. And one more important thing is that if the trigger voltage is not going below VTL, we will not get it. So you can see now you're getting it. Suppose if you make this equal to a offset of 0, this is fine here because this is going below 0. Suppose assume that this I'll make it somewhere here as 2 volt, and if you make this amplitude as 1 volt, I will not get it. You can see I'm not getting the waveform because this trigger voltage is not going below VTL. You can just make this as 2 volt. Even if you make the offset as 0, this is fine. Even if you make the offset as 0, this will work out because it will certainly give you the trigger voltage will certainly go below VTL. It will work out. Okay, this is how you can able to see the working of monoshot with different combinations of resistance and the control voltage, and of course the proper trigger signal. Hope you enjoyed the video.